Hello, my name is Milani Gracia, and this is my project focusing on how play and development are impacted by the equity issue of language and culture. The way this presentation will take form will primarily be via PowerPoint with voiceovers and a few videos of me talking in front of the camera. So with that said, here's my project. So I named the title of the presentation When Language and Culture Are Excluded in the Classroom because of the examples I provide that reflect upon the effects students face when their language is not accepted and when their culture is not represented in the classroom. Just for a short review on why we focus on equity over equality when it comes to individual students' needs. Equity can be defined as the quality of being fair and impartial. Now, we cannot expect every student to learn the exact same way because every student has a unique learning trajectory. Thus, equity in the classroom is a response to individualized learning and development opportunities that will enable young children to reach their full potential. The image I included on the slide I feel is a perfect visual representation for explaining how equality sometimes is not enough when working with a diverse group of students. I'm going to ask you to picture yourself back in grade school in science class learning about photosynthesis. However, there is a catch in which you can only learn photosynthesis in a totally different language. Let's go with French. So the teacher begins lecturing, not even acknowledging that you and perhaps your classmates have no idea what he or she is saying. Pretty difficult if French isn't your first language, right? Now imagine what this does to a child when they're enforced to learn in a language they're not comfortable in. It's insanely difficult for them and may cause them to feel uncomfortable. Meaning the child could be the brightest in the room, but because he or she is more comfortable in their first language, the child never actually gets the opportunity to demonstrate what they know or their capabilities. Emphasis on only one language can prevent them and discourage the students from being able to demonstrate their funds of knowledge. In correspondence to this example, I'm going to show a clip from a video I found about several people sharing their stories, although I'm only going to show a piece about a woman named Marisela recalling her experience when she was in grade school.
Difficult at the beginning.
I was never asked, to share what I had. I knew a lot. I mean, when I was sitting there and students were doing, writing numbers or adding and subtracting, I knew what they were doing. I just couldn't be a part of it because I didn't speak the language. And so I felt like essentially I was punished, for not speaking my first language. And it almost made my language something not to be desired.
The video obtained elements of my first two examples, in which my second example focuses more on the cultural identity the language carries with the child. Language and culture are closely intertwined with each other, so when a child is not welcomed or allowed to speak their native language in the classroom, it is the equivalent of a child abandoning their cultural identity. Issues of equity relating to culture may be a lack of representation for diversity in the classroom environment. So when an African American or Latino child walks in the first day of school and they notice all the posters and pictures on the walls are of only white boys and girls, that type of environment lacking in representation may translate to the child as their culture not being good enough, and they start to question their own identity's worth that may carry with the child into adolescence and even adulthood, taking the form of low self-esteem or social anxiety. Hi again. Since the first two examples were negative effects when there is an equity issue of language and culture, I kind of wanted to lighten things up a bit and share a personal experience of what happens when language and culture are included and welcomed in the classroom. So just for a little background knowledge, I am from Brownsville, Texas, which is 20 to 25 minutes from South Padre Island, on the border with Matamoros, Mexico. In fact, a lot of students from Matamoros would cross over to Brownsville every single day just to attend school. I did not live in Matamoros, but I did have a lot of classmates and friends that did. And it was no secret regarding the amount of Hispanic and Latino kids like me whose first language was more than likely Spanish. I remember being encouraged to speak Spanish if it helped me learn better, as my kindergarten teacher would approach her lessons by saying the term in Spanish and then in English. For example, if we were learning our shapes, she would say triángulo, in English se dice triangle, and then we would repeat after her so we can make the connection that triángulo and triangle are the same. This is because children's learning and development outcomes are improved when they are in an environment that is, encourages them to use the language they are more confident in. In fact, the school district even decided to participate in a local holiday known as Charros Days, where it's only celebrated in Brownsville, and it's a 3-day celebration kind of in February and March, as my school organized dance recitals, carnivals, plays, and we would all dress up in traditional Mexican attire And as a 5-year-old, I just remember being so immensely proud that I was able to, dance the traditional dances and just kind of be proud of my culture and be proud of my language and my identity, where I'm from. So, yeah. And here are some pictures of me with my dance partner. I actually got this dress in Mexico, and I still have it back at home. So just for the visuals. For my conclusion, I'd like to begin by reading a quote from one of my sources that I found to be very insightful, in which it states, "Children's learning and development is enhanced when early childhood professionals recognize the benefits of multilingualism and actively support children's home language." With that said, it is crucial that educators are mindful of the diversity amongst their students and address the equity issues and methods that aim towards a healthy space for their play and development of cultural identity. In addition, I attached a separate Word document consisting of my 2 paragraphs and references in alphabetical order, I hope. And for the fun of it, I added a few bloopers of me when I was recording myself because I thought it was really funny going back to see myself try to keep it together. But on the other hand, thank you so much for watching and listening. Hi again. And I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could